Welcome to Dirty Fanatics.
Falcon fans, welcome to Dirty Fanatics United. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button, leave a subscribe, and leave a comment if you want to talk Falcon football. As always, I'm your host, Chase, with my co-hosts, Philip and Cody. And guys, we got a banger tonight for these Falcon fans that have been waiting all week for this one show, man. Philip, Cody, before we bring our diehard legend at the sack master himself, John Abraham. Philip, Cody, what's been going on, man?
Man, it's been a blessed little week, man. Thankful to be here. This is a big moment. You know, it's going to be pretty fun tonight. Just glad to be here, man. Just blessed.
Yes, sir. Cody, what's been going on, man?
Yes, sir, man. I've been looking forward to this night for a very long time. Like I said, I've been a huge John Abraham fan for a very long time. I'm excited to get into this one.
Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and do just that. The man, John Abraham, what's going on, man? Appreciate you for coming through for us here on the podcast. Glad to have you here, brother. How you been?
I'm good, man. Thank y'all for having me. You can only duck and dodge somebody for so long before I have to accept your invitation.
Man, I greatly appreciate it. Me, Cody, and Philip ourselves has been a diehard fan of you from a long time. I say when I grew up watching, you were on the defense. You were the defense for the Atlanta Falcons in my eyes. So it's a big pleasure to have you on the podcast. Man, let's jump right into it. Go ahead and get these questions started. John, I'll hit you with the first one, man. What was it like to play for your defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan, in New York, and he followed you to Atlanta? You was able to bring that chemistry from one locker room to another. I mean, just speak on that. How was that as a football player as a young age and in that transition?
The younger Mike Nolan, I didn't really know a lot about football, so it was more like just playing. I didn't really try to learn the schemes. I didn't try to learn how to be a pro. When he came to Atlanta, he just didn't seem like the same guy. Like, it wasn't a bad situation at all, but it was more like I was older and they didn't want me to play as much, and they was trying to increment Croy Bierman anymore. So I didn't get as much. I think that's the reason why I probably end up going to another team or, getting cut, because they just feel like I was like on my last leg or you get too old. But I went to Arizona and made a Pro Bowl. So not knocking Mike Nolan at all, but I think the end of his career, he was kind of dealing with an older John Abraham, and I think they felt like maybe he had nothing left. And they was trying to, like I said, they were trying to work somebody else in at the time. Right.
Completely understand. Philip, you got a question for the man himself, John Abraham. What's up?
Like throughout your whole career, you had a great career, obviously. What was like one of your favorite memories that you had throughout your career?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and I read the questions and I was just like, this is a tough question for me, because there's like dealing with my head injury, there is so much stuff I forgot about the game. I literally had to watch myself on film to convince myself that I was a good player. So, but the things I remember the most are probably off the field, just getting the opportunity to change teams. Because looking back at my life, it looks a lot better now than when I was playing. Being in New York and being traded, first of all, like, damn, I got traded. So I'm thinking like it's the worst thing possible. I ended up coming to Atlanta and having a great career here. But then I got cut. So I'm like, dang, I got fired again. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, this ain't supposed to be a job situation. This is supposed to be fun football. I'm supposed to be making money and like meeting fans and doing all kind of stuff to make my life feel better. But those are probably the best memories of mine, because football really teaches you a lot about life. A lot of things that people think, oh, it's just, and I'm happy now that people are not looking at people as just money now. They're looking at us as people. They'll see the big contracts now. People aren't like, oh, you making that much money and you bitching? Like, no, man, I'm making this much money, but I'm making this much money, but the guy beside me is making this much money. or the guy. Okay, everyone has had a job, and there was one guy that was making way more or making way less, and he was like, "We're doing the same damn thing. Like, what's going on with this?" So, I'm glad that people are finally seeing athletes and understanding these people are making $1 billion. So, giving that guy 50 million of $1 billion of that year is such a small percentage.
Right. Cody?
Yeah, no, John. So first off, I got to tell you, a huge fan of yours, man. Growing up watching you on the defense, you're actually the reason when I played football, I wore number 55. I've got your 55 on tonight. Say so as a brotherhood. So I've got a question for you. So obviously, you were the reason that I wore 55 when I played football. Was 55 a special number for you, or was it just kind of one of those things like, hey, give me the first number and I'll go rock it?
Well, I can honestly say that I was born May 5th. I'm May 6th. I'm sorry. I was born May 6th. I wanted number 56, but we had Keith Brookins at the time.
Right.
And also 55 was significant for me because I got to make my own number. When I got in the league, they gave me 94, ugly as hell. But I was like, but at the end of the day, I had people rocking 94 jerseys. 55 came. You can go from Junior Seau, you can go from Marvin Jones, you can go like 55 is just being a football player, and 55 just looks sweet. Like
Yes, it does.
it was a sweet number, and I'm like, I want to look sweet, even though I play defensive end. I want to look fresh. Like, and 55 just looks good on me. It just fit perfectly. Like, I would have got number 1 if I could, but I definitely would have got it now because everybody getting the loaded.
Yeah.
55 for me, but now 55 is like a lifestyle. Like every time I see 55, or every time I even got a little small 55 on now, and it's not even because of the number. It's more because of the decision making I got to make with that number. I got to choose my own number, so it helped me with choices in life. So a lot of times I might like 55 get live to me. That means like be yourself. Be yourself. Like, because I used to wear a chain with my daughter's name on it, but now it's my turn in life to start doing other things. So I got to get back into that 5-5 mentality of attacking things.
Thanks, Miss Pam. Glad to have you here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no doubt. Definitely a good time when Miss Pam's on the show. Miss Pam, I know you have some questions for the legend, Mr. John himself. So go ahead.
My question is about what is your combine experience when you first started out, or the draft day experience? That's my question to you.
So you said my combine?
And your draft, what you can remember about when you got drafted by the Jets. And
okay, the funniest story about the combine, my roommate was LeVar Arrington. So LeVar was never in the room. So that's when I felt like I ain't getting drafted high. Because I'm like, everybody's want LeVar to do this, LeVar to do that. And, LeVar was just like the man at Penn State. He had all kind of accolades. And both of us' name was Abraham Arrington. So I was like, man, but he was literally never in the room. And I'm looking like, man, I'm going low in the draft because I'm like, everybody wants to talk to this guy. So, for me, it was just like, it was uplifting, but it was showing like, dude, you really ain't did nothing yet. And being drafted for me was more, it's something I'll never experience again. And I don't know if y'all have those moments like having kids or, graduating college or certain things in your life that you would love to do again. Like I was talking to someone the other day, and I was like, man, I'll never sack a quarterback again in life. Yeah. And people don't understand, like, I did 20 years of football, and I got 133 and a half sacks. I probably had I probably had 20, 30,000 plays that I played, and I only got 100. So the percentage is terrible. So I had to start living life like that. I failed way more than I succeeded. But what's the point of even trying? So I have a pleasure in failing now. Like I do things now, and if I fail, at least I can say I did it. We gotta start having checkoff lists. You don't have to be perfect at everything you do. You can do amazing stuff. Like I do sign language now. It's something I always wanted to do. I juggle. I know it sounds corny, but juggling is something pretty easy. But it looks easy, but it's hard. Thank you. Yeah. I'm back in college at the moment, so I'm getting my degree. Nice. I started salsa and bachata. So it's a lot of things that I'm trying to pad my stats, and I actually cooked breakfast for the first time. So I'm doing a lot. I know it sounds bad, but y'all don't judge me. There's a lot of trauma things I'm going through that I'm trying to make myself do.
Being in the NFL, the NFL alone is a very hard league to make. Being in the league for 15 seasons and playing at such a high level that you played out throughout your career. I mean, I think it was 5 to 6 seasons in New York, and then you came to Atlanta and did 6 to 7 here in Atlanta. who would you say mentored your most throughout your entire career?
I think everybody should take this mentorship. Mentor yourself. Write down what you want. You talk about those vision boards. You talk about writing down goals. You talk about personal affirmations. Things like that is what you need to really succeed. You can listen to someone else, but at the end of the day, you gotta write your own life. End of the day, you don't want a guy to be like, oh, this guy right here told me to do this, and you mess up. If you mess up on your own, you can take it a little easier on your chin. So I would definitely say, when I got to Atlanta, that's when I started preparing myself. Like when it came to, even when I talk to younger athletes now, they'll ask me like, what can I do to succeed? I said, become the best you. And that's it.
Right.
Like even anybody in life, not like you can see that as not even an athlete, as a person, just become the best you. And I know the best me is learning salsa. I know the best me is juggling. I know the best me is learning sign language. Because this is stuff that I want to learn. If you have something that you have passion for, if you have something that you always wanted to do in life, and trust me, you can go online and learn so much stuff now that we didn't have back. Like it didn't make sense back in the day for me to try to do all these things that I'm doing now. But now I literally can go online and just hit a button.
Right.
Or I go to look like a little meetup thing. They have meetup situations. If you want to see somebody that has the same criteria or does the same thing you want to do, hit that button. So it's not like I've had a lot of mentors like Brian Cox. I'll say you can even say Julio Jones. Watching Julio Jones, like there's a lot of guys that have not been mentors to me, like personally, to come in and say something. Right. Just watching how people play, or watching like Matt Ryan, just his consistency. Babineau. Like I have so many guys that I can say that help me build my career and also the person I want to be. Like right now, I have a cousin sitting right over here. His name Torrey Joseph. He one of the reasons why I play sports. Me and him came from a small town, Toonesville, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. Like literally, there was nothing to do. We didn't have no gyms. We had a park that maybe 15 minutes away. We didn't have no car. So we would literally be running down dirt road. We'd be climbing trees. We used to go in my grandfather's tobacco barn, climb the barn. This dude made weights out of bricks and a pole. We would sit there and try to rough out some weights. We were like everything that we did was competitive, and it was the good competition. It was the healthy competition. Right. It was like the reason why I played sports is he wanted to play sports. He wanted to play basketball, so I played basketball. He wasn't really a football guy, but I always felt like I could be a good football player. I played my senior year. This is after he graduated. And like he was in the band, I was in the band, and we used to be some mean percussionists. Don't get it twisted. 6'4" used to get it in, man. I'm trying to say, so we used to get a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of people that mentored me and helped me be the guy I am today.
Great answer, Philip.
Like obviously throughout your career, you have always, obviously practice. Who was that one guy that you like going head to head with, in practice?
I didn't really like going against anyone, to be honest. And it's just being real because I felt like it would never be the same in the game.
Right.
So I always used to try different things on people, but then I'll go in the game, like it'll be totally different. You can say, but my big thing was watching film and watching what other guys did to beat the guy. But in practice, and I think a lot of times my coaches or even the players around me might have thought I wasn't interested. I wasn't. Because I'm a more visual learner. Like I can sit here and write all day, but if I watch film and I'll sit there and watch the competitor I was going against. Going against Claybo every day for 7 years was tough because after a while you're just doing the same. I already know what move can beat this guy. You know what I mean? Then I got to go in the game and go against Jonathan Ogden, and this like 7 foot tall, and like it's a completely different comparison. So it's not like I didn't enjoy going against like one of my best friends. Quinn Ojanaka. He's a wrestler now, professional wrestler now. He was a fat sloppy mug, but he used to call me out every time. He called me out every time to go one-on-one because he wanted to get better. So I like when people try to get better against me and they show me different things. So anything different for me was always good because, doing 15 years and seeing the same thing over and over and over, you got to start loving it.
Cody, before you get to your question from Mr. John, I got a comment here from my guy, Carlo Wiggins. May get a little reaction out of John on this one. He says, John, that was not roughing the passer on Kaepernick.
Never.
You remember that game pretty fondly.
I've never had a roughing the passer.
Cody, go ahead, man.
Not one day. I've never had a roughing the passer.
I believe it. I'll say.
Tell them to get in the weight room.
Well, okay. My question for you is, John, is like, man, you were so dominant and you made some really good offensive linemen look really bad. But who was that one guy when you got to the NFL was just like, I know I'm lining up against this guy this Sunday, and I'm just going to kick your ass. And I know they're all professionals, but there was that one guy that you knew you were going to eat that day.
Hey man, that's a tough question. I always try to respect my opponent, but and this is going to sound so self-centered and so I always felt like I was the only person that could stop me.
Yes,
I always felt like whoever's in front of me, I know I can beat him. It was not even trying to be like, it's going to sound like, it was no guy that I would be scared of. It was no guy that I felt like I couldn't get a sack on. There was no guy, I knew if I well prepared myself for the situation, I'm getting around you. Like, there was no one that I would like, oh yeah, I'm going to kick his. That was everyone for me. Like, if I can get in this cat's head, if I can be the best John Abraham today, I know no one can stop me. So that's why I hated so many injuries I had, because I missed around 40-some games. And I got 133 and a half sacks. That's 3 years of football, pretty much. So I missed 3 years of football. You give me those 3 years, and you talking about Hall of Fame, you talking about all these other stuff. I'm in the Hall of Fame category, and I missed 40 games. And you telling me I shouldn't be a Hall of Famer? That's ridiculous. Like, if you think about it, like, this guy has missed 40-something. He missed 3 years of football, and he's still in the category with Hall of Famers. I had to start patting myself on the back and stop, because it took a lot. Because when I first was done, I was like, man, I ain't do enough. I wasn't Player of the Year. I didn't win a Super Bowl. And then I started thinking about it. It took me years. Now, it wasn't like overnight.
A franchise record.
Yeah, I had to watch myself on film. I had to do a lot of things. And with the White Freeney getting in this year, I was like, Dad, we got the same numbers.
Yeah.
Sure. I think he led the league in sacks once, and he got a Super Bowl, and he was with Peyton Manning. So there was a lot of different stuff that going on. But I'm like, I got the numbers to be a Hall of Famer. Maybe not this year, maybe not till I'm like 80 years old. But I definitely think my numbers, and looking at my career, if I could have got those things, I would have been solidified. You know what I mean? But also I have to give myself grace in that situation.
Absolutely.
Miss Pam, we got a whole list of questions here. If you don't have a certain one you have on your mind, you're free to read any of them to them.
I got one. Who was that player that when you got to the league that you actually was crazy about, and you actually met that player and just was starstruck?
It's crazy because I never had that person. Because once you get in it, it's like
you are that person.
When I got it, I can say this. I was more starstruck by Peter Ward, just because those guys were coming out the same year. When I met Lavernius Coles for the first time, I was watching my peers, and then even being roommates with LeVar Arrington, I was just like, wow. So everybody, I tell everybody now, I always was a fan of football, even after the game. So every time I played somebody, it was mystical for me. That's what people don't understand. So being in that realm, I didn't feel like I was supposed to be there. It was just like I'm a guy. Like everybody said, John, you had such a great career. You was this. I said, man, I was just a football player, playing. I was a fan out there, just getting the opportunity to play. I never felt like I deserved a lot of stuff I got, and that's also something I had to work on with treatment. hey, I was like I got to stop telling myself you didn't deserve this. Dude, you worked your ass off to get it. So it's a lot of stuff that after I was done with football, I had to unpeel my onion, because I had so much stuff that I was not feeling like I was, but I really was. But there was no. I mean, I had Benny Testaverde, I had Curtis Martin, I had Chad Pennington. I got to meet Randy Moss. I got to meet everybody that pretty much, after a while, you get used to seeing them, because you got to see them on film every day. Right. I'm watching this guy on film every day. If I was to come to this podcast every week, you run into me that's John, man. It's just John. It's just John. Y'all acting like, ooh, John. It's just John, man. I met Shaq. Shaq was probably the guy that I had I wanted to be Shaq. I had a big poster on my wall. I got to meet him early on in my career, and we're still friends now. And it's now he's just Shaq now. It's not even oh my God. When I see him on film now, I still see that Shaq. When I watch him on film, it's like the kid come out of me. I see him in person, I'm like, what's up?
John, I got a question for you, man. 15 seasons in the league, obviously your body takes a major beating throughout 15 seasons in probably one of the most physical sports there is. Grady Jarrett, a big dynamic piece for this defense, is coming off a pretty serious surgery that he just had this offseason, bouncing back tremendously from what I'm seeing in reports. But, John, what does it take for you to bring your body back to 100%, to be ready to go and play a position like Grady plays and be of impact that he's got to be really on this D line?
Nothing to do with your body. It's all mental. It's all mental knowing that you won't get hurt again. It's all mental knowing that you can still play hard like you did before. It's all mental saying that I'm going to go out here and every play is going to be just like it was before I got hurt. I can honestly say when all those times I got hurt, it made me a different player sometimes because I'll be like, oh, I got to come out the game now because I don't want to overdo it and get hurt again. And you just got to put all that in the back and play because we know he works out. We know he gets treatment. So it's all a mental thing. And when they tell you like, well, you can't get hurt again or this wasn't happening, you never know. So once you leave that out, that's when you start playing like yourself again. But it's definitely a tough situation. It's harder than people think to come back from a major injury.
Right. Cool.
Obviously, besides going into game day, your first thought was just, goal is winning, obviously. Did you set any other goals besides just winning going into game day?
Trying to be the smartest player on the field. And I mean that, no MAs, and we call those mental, missed assignments, no MEs, no mental errors, no lows. So before the game, even if I didn't get a sack or a tackle or anything like that, I want to make sure that I have all checks on mine. When we're done, they be like, okay, right. Well, John, you didn't miss this assignment, you didn't do this. So my thing was, I knew if I play a perfect game, I'll have a good game. It had nothing to do with making the most amazing play. And if I made an amazing play, erase that out your head and go back and do another one. It was never really a goal on, okay, I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna have 10 sacks. It's okay, I'm gonna go out here and beat my opponent every down. I'm gonna go out here and play the best I can. I'm gonna know when to come off the field. I'm gonna know the plays. So if Jonathan Babineau doesn't know this play, I'm gonna tell him what it is. So it was all about being smart on and off the field. Even with how you eat, how you prepare for the game. So you want to win, but also you want to put on a good performance. At the end of the day, athletes are performers too. And if I did this play 15 times in practice and then I mess it up in the game, what kind of actor am I? What kind of performer am I? You can see a guy that everybody's been to a show or everybody's seen something. You can see somebody fall. You've been to a concert. You see a guy hit a wrong note. So that's the kind of stuff that you prepare for. You prepare and don't have the wrong notes. Don't miss an assignment. And then after the game, you can sit there and enjoy that. Yeah, I did that.
All right. Cody, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I would say, so who was your favorite teammate to hang out with? Whether it be a Matt Ryan or a Babineau or.
My favorite teammate actually probably was Lavernius Coles. When we were younger, we got really close. He was a third-round pick. He was going through a lot of trauma from, Florida State, getting kicked out, and he felt like he should have been a first-round pick. After every offseason, he used to come stay with me in South Carolina. He lived in Jacksonville, but he used to come stay with me on, we just bonded. I don't know how the hell. It didn't make any sense at all. I lived with Sean Ellis at the time, but me and Lavernius was just like tick and tack. Like everything he did, I would do. And we were totally different. Like we were like opposites because he would literally go out by himself. Like this guy would be, you'll see he'll go about. I was more of a homebody, but me and him ended up just connecting and being like super friends. And like I got his name tattooed on my right hand, my right hand man. So it's just crazy how life throws you stuff that makes absolutely no sense. Because you see us, I used to be him and like him and Wayne Corbett. I used to be their bodyguard because nobody knew who the hell I was. So you like Wayne Corbett and Lavernius, these two sexy little athletes right here. You got a big 250-pound big black guy. They was like, oh, he must be their security. So I used to go to the club like, yeah, I'm security. Yeah, y'all leave me alone. I'm like, so it was funny, man. We got some weird stories, man.
Go ahead, Ms. Powell.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I got a question. Were you surprised that the Falcons didn't pick a cornerback too in the draft?
Good question, Ms. Powell.
One thing I've learned about sports, you're never going to know what people do. Right. And nothing surprises me. I don't get surprised. Oh, they drafted a quarterback. I was like, okay, well, let's talk about it. Like, ain't no point to sit here and being mad. People, oh, why they did Penny Spencer? It's like, it's to the point now, like even, and I don't like politics, y'all. I promise you I don't like politics, but I got to say one thing. I ain't never had so much hate going on, and I don't know what's going on. No, I just don't know what's going on. Like, nobody's saying what I can do for the country. They just talking about how bad this person is. I'm like, when are we going to talk about, like back in the day, we used to like, oh yeah, well he says this, and we know this. Now I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm like. What are we talking about? So it's kind of like even when people talk about pennies, everybody talking all this stuff about why they pick pennies. Wait till the guy proves himself. Wait till he. We always so much into prejudging, and that's the best thing, because think about it, 10 people can say it, one person can get it right, and the one person would be the most amazing person ever. Well, how did he know? Everybody making the educated guess. It was about me, so I don't know. Like, I'm just hoping they get somebody good, and I think Pennis is going to be good later on. You know what I mean? But I really don't rest on people, doing what you think is going to happen.
Right.
Speaking of young players that the Falcons have acquired for this defense, which they did pretty heavily after the second-round pick, it was straight defense. Rook Ohurohu's got a big name from Clemson, learning behind Grady Jarrett. A lot of people see a lot of good in this young guy. What does it take for Rook to have that amazing rookie season?
Well, you remember what I said earlier. Don't try to be Grady Jarrett. Be yourself. Be yourself. Now, I'm not saying don't listen to Grady. Like, Grady, what do you think is the easiest way for me to learn how to do this defense? Because, some people learn whatever is your learning tactic, use it in football. Like, some people visual, some people have to repeat it over and over, be repetitive. Don't look at Grady and be like, well, this is how Grady do it. This is how I'm going to try to do it. No, say, okay, I'm more of a person that I like to write stuff down. Right now, like, for me, I used to just write it over and over and over. I used to bunch everything up to what was like something else. If this defense, I'm doing this in this defense, I'll take it all and put it in one category. Whether it was a base defense, whether it was nickel, whether it was dime, I'll take everything and put it in. And then I figure out what the names were. So if you want to be the ultimate athlete, the conversation is the best thing. The verbiage, knowing all this stuff as a rookie will make you excel so much, because at least you'll know where you're at. Like, most time as a rookie, they ain't looking for you to go out there and have no 20 sacks or do any crazy thing. They just want to see that you're able to learn the game. So I would be in my book. I would learn every play. So let's say if something happens and I got to go in for someone else, just don't make no mistakes. That's all we want from a rookie, really. Like, even if you're a high pick, they don't really. Okay, Jamarcus Russell. All they wanted him to do was just to look at film. They gave him a blank tape. They asked him what he watched. He said, "I watched." Come on, stuff like that. Like, come on. All they want you to do is not mess it up for us. Like, don't mess it up for the other 10 people on the field.
Right. Cool.
All right. Whether it was like a win or a loss, like how, having teammates such as Matt Ryan, Jonathan Babineau, what was like the vibes in the locker room after each game, like whether it was win or loss?
Man, I can tell you, being in Atlanta was so different when I was in New York. And maybe because it was more older people. And not saying I ended up being the old guy in the locker room when I got to Atlanta, but everybody came into work ready. Like, it was always a good vibe, even after a loss. It was never the season's over. It was never that. The whole time I was in Atlanta, whether it was Matt Ryan, whether it was, Keith Brooken when he was here, like, everybody came with a it was never a negative day that I went. I enjoyed coming to the locker room because win or loss, we was always ready for the next week. Like, it was never like, oh man, we're terrible, we can't. No, it was always an uplifting, because it was an uplifting environment. Like, in any job, like when you're doing this podcast, whether I'm very boring or not, you still gonna be like, well, John was good, and you're gonna have to keep it moving to the next week. And that's how you got, and that's how you have. And I think that's a life lesson that a lot of us don't really pick up when we're at work. You have a bad day at work. It's not a bad life. You just had a bad day. Get over it. Move on. Like, it's our job to make each other happy. And I think I think that was so tough for me to leave Atlanta because I enjoyed every day I was here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go on to one of our guys that's on the roster now that's supposed to, we want to get after quarterback with Arnold Ebiketie. What do you think Arnold Ebiketie's got to do this season to really kind of step up and be that sack master like he was in college? What do you see in his game that, maybe needs to be changed or something he can do to improve to really get after the quarterback now?
See, I think I'm a terrible commentator, and I'm just saying this because I always be like, I don't know that man. Like, I can say, like, if people ask me, like, what do I think? I think he should get sacked. I think he should sack the quarterback, and that's like the end of my answer. But honestly, I feel like I don't know how knowledgeable he is of the game. I don't know his physicality. I don't know if he's strong. I don't know if he's fast. Like, he can look fast. He can do this. I didn't really watch a lot of his college football. Only thing I know is you only need one good game to really become a great pro. You have one game that you like just get off and people start noticing you, like, oh, he's back. Oh, he's a great player. So hopefully he can just put 2 to 3 games together this year. Like, you can have one game with 3 sacks. And then they come in bunches. Like, I've never had like 16 games straight I got a sack. But it was always like 2 sacks here, 3 sacks, 2, 1, 1. It was never anything like that. So I don't know his mindset. So this is all just from me being an athlete and me being a defensive end. Just don't worry about the games that you don't get sacks. Just worry about how close you get to pressures and things like that, because you ain't getting a sack every game. No matter, I might play 70 games and not touch the quarterback, but then the next week I might go and have 3. Like, being in the right places is bigger than trying to beat someone sometimes. So just knowing your job.
Right.
Ms. Pam?
All right. You look like you could play for the Falcons right now.
I could.
What is your daily?
Enough check.
What is your daily workout regimen? Is
my workout, like, you know what? I don't do as much as I did when I played, but I think with everybody, the older you get, what you put in your body, especially food, alcohol. Like, I've been sober 4 years. You know, it's just a lot of stuff that you really, most people should just go to a nutritionist one time in their life and see what you can do. Some people can eat sweets all day. I know some people that sit there and eat sweets, eat burgers, and don't gain a pound. That's not me. So you gotta know, you gotta know what your body is like. And I think with anybody, not just being a ex-athlete, I think everybody should go check, because you never know. Like, I'm at the age now that it doesn't surprise me when people die. Like, you know, I'm 46 years old, so, you know, I have people that's younger than me. I have people my age that are just going like left and right, and I'm just like, it's to the point now I can't even be sad no more. Just like that. That's why I like. What, you know, it's kind of, hey, just like y'all look at the stats at the end of the game. What was the stats? Oh, he had high cholesterol. Oh, that's what it was. Oh, what he died from? Oh, car accident. Dang, where he died from? Oh, he had a blood clot. Oh man, so it's like looking at stats now to see what I got to do. Like, I'm dead sick. I be like, let me check another. I really be checking high blood pressure. Oh man, I can't do that. All right, what I need to do? All right, diabetes. I got that. No, I ain't got that. Okay, I'm good on that. I really be checking them stats, man.
Nice. Being away from the game, I mean, I know obviously you had a passion for the game and being, you know, the sack artist that you were when you were in the game. How has it changed your life stepping away from the game, something that you dedicated your life for so long?
That's a good question. I'm actually in a class. I'm in an industrial psychology class, and we was talking about that today. You know, stepping away from football. I was talking about job loss and dealing with the emotional, cognitive ability, how you change stuff. So literally, I had to go to treatment, and it took me a while. For me, I never really liked anyone's help. That's why I told you, like, as an athlete, I didn't want to mentor. I didn't want nobody to tell me, because if I mess up, I'm gonna feel like it's their fault, not mine, and I don't want to play the victim with anything. So it took me, I guess, I told I was gonna when I retired, I said I'm gonna give myself 5 years, and then next thing you know, the 5 years end up being 7 or 8 years, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing? And then you know, a lot of stuff was going bad in my life, but wasn't really going bad. But mentally, I was thinking. I retired from a head injury, and instead of me, you know, being proactive, you know, being like, because I knew I wasn't gonna play no more. So, you know, before, whenever I got injured or something, I would do everything possible to get back on the field. I knew I wanted to get back on the field, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go party my ass off. I'm just gonna prove everybody that I'm happy. Like, I was probably the most miserable I've ever been in my life, but I tried my best to pretend I was happy. And fake happiness might be the worst thing ever, because it brings back more depression when you get home. So like I said, I went to treatment, and I gave myself a lot of gratitude afterwards. You know, working with CBT, DBT, and a lot of things that I had no clue about when I was playing, because, you know, I want to be a strong man, but it gets to a certain point that I had to be strong for other people. And I think a lot of us, you know, we worry about our kids so much, and we worry about, you know, helping friends and family out, that we don't put enough in ourselves. I think they say you can't pour water out of an empty cup. So I had to do more filling my cup up and understanding what kind of person I was. I had to develop myself more. Like as I developed as an athlete, learning how to do a spin move, learning how to do a rip swim, I had to learn how to like, this is how you like to love, John. This is how you have to talk to people. This is how you have to open up. This is how you have to, you have to make your bed up. You have to vacuum. When you vacuum, you actually feel better about yourself. Certain things like they said, a messy home it has a lot to do with a messy inside. Like, you come to somebody's house, their house is trashy, doing this stuff, like just small things that I had to build myself back up. And I think everyone, it's not just athletes, like whenever you're going through something, the way you handle it, like if somebody dies in your family and you go down, and then you have to, it'll take you further to get back up. Like if you go to jail or something, instead of like, okay, I'm going right back to what I did, you got to do something to build it up and build it up. For the last 4 years, all I've been trying to do is just pad my stats. And when I say that, every day is a good day for me. I might have a bad moment in that day, but I don't let that day, like I will never have an excuse for something bad and then something else happen. Okay, this happened. That nothing to do with it. God is not punishing me. This is a part of life. Stuff happens. People pass away. You're going to mess up. You might slip and fall. You might break a man. You're going to get sick. Things happen in life. It's not even like nobody else is going through it. So definitely that for me.
Nice.
I don't know if I answered the question either.
Yeah, definitely.
You did.
I think I seen someone commented earlier. It was speaking on like a 3-4 or 4-3. What would you say? Like, yeah, which one
what
would
was
you
your
prefer?
preference?
My preference 3-4 all day, because I was drafted as an outside linebacker. My first year I played outside linebacker. And my last year, I played outside linebacker, and I made the Pro Bowl when I was in Arizona. Mm-hmm. It was the funnest situation of my whole life. Like, I never wanted to play defensive end again in my life. And Herm Edwards came and put me back defensive end. I was so upset. I was like, I ain't built for this. Not like I'm a weak man, but I felt like I was more like a Michael Parsons type guy. And I felt like my whole career was wasted in just being in that defensive end role. And it's not a bad thing. I still played well. I still had a great career. And I think a lot of my problems with my career is because I didn't get to play linebacker my whole career like I wanted to, but I shouldn't, I can't and I won't downgrade my abilities and what I've done.
Shout out to Smitty Sports Machine. John, I'm pretty sure you know who this man is. Smitty has had John on his show before, so head over to Smitty Sports Machine, man. Hit that like button, leave him a subscribe.
What's up, Smitty?
Any more questions for the man, John Abe?
Yeah, absolutely. So, John, what is that one game in the Falcon uniform that when you look back on your career, you're like, man, if I could go back and relive that game again, go play and do that again, that would be the game that you'd go back to?
It would be the last one against San Francisco. Even though we lost that game, it's like a memory that would always be in my mind. If I can just suit up one more time and know what's going to happen in the game, like knowing, like, I thought I was going to be able to go to a Super Bowl after that. Like that game, I was crying at halftime because we was winning, and we were winning like easily. It was like we were just a better team. And then the second half, I would love to relive it because some of your moments are sad, but you'll still do it again. And that is one of the moments that if I could live in that moment, I would. Just just the feeling. I mean, I went through every stage possible of feeling like, like I was happy, I was sad, I was emotional. It was just everything that you can think about. Seeing it, like if I could write a movie just about that day, would be amazing to me, because I'm telling you, man, like you see how far and how close you are to being, amazing. You know what I mean? So that was one of those games. Like that's one game, and I wasn't even 100%. And that's the funny thing about it. I wasn't even 100%, but I know how hard I fought to try to get back in the game and try to get 100%. So you think about some places in your life and you see that I don't never do that again. But I'm like, nah, that would be the game. Like not the game that I had 3 sacks, not the game that I did my job. That's nothing. I did my job. Like so for me getting 3 sacks, it wasn't like I didn't go get drunk because I got 3 sacks. I would go get drunk because we missed the game that couldn't do this. Like it was never like, we won. Oh shit, I'm good. That we supposed to. That was, my mind was like that. That would be supposed. It wasn't really like celebration time. So like, and I always say, I always just take the losses harder than anything else.
Ms. Pam?
My question is, you went through the head injury and all that. Did the NFL do a lot to improve as far as taking care of the veteran players or the retired players that's out of the game, or you think more needs to be done?
I think there always can be something done when it comes to any kind of injury, not even just head injuries. I mean, it started with knees back in the day. Then it started with the horse collars. Then it started with the head now, and the head is the most traumatic probably thing you can have. But I know a lot of guys that have hip injuries that aren't getting what they need because they didn't play long enough and certain things like that. There are a lot of stuff that you'll be surprised to see athletes after they're done that haven't played long but have injuries. Like some people, you might have a wrist and people think a wrist is not, or you might have a thumb or you might have anything. But I think if you reach out to the NFL, and I'm not, I think there's always going to be, like I said, I'm in an industrial psychology class. This has everything to do with work process. So everything you're talking to me is make me think like, what can I say about the workplace? I feel like HR right now. I really do. Like, the class I'm in is like, but I think the NFL, if you reach out to them, and you keep this is something players have to do while they're playing, and I think a lot of us just didn't know. Keep record on stuff that messes up with you. Keep records on when you have one of those days that you don't remember stuff. Keep records on when you may have a day that your back not working right. You have to keep records so when they come to you like, why do you need this disability, or why do you think you deserve this? You can have records on it because I would be walking sometime, my knee would give out, and I'm like, dang, like what's going on? But they have a lot of stuff that you can do, but you got to be proactive about it. Like you can go to North Carolina, you can go to California, do a full body scan, and you can see what's going on with you. So I just think every year, after a season, if I was a player now, like being a 46-year-old man, I would have done a lot better in recording everything that was going on with me because I knew a long time before my head was messed up. It was messed up, but I wasn't going to stop playing. I wasn't going to be like, I'm going to stop playing. I knew when I couldn't keep a credit card, a debit card, or a cell phone. Like I used to lose a cell phone probably at least twice a week, and this is not over exaggeration. And I remember one time I came home and I had like maybe 15 debit cards. You couldn't tell me I didn't lose them, but these were all cards they were sending me, and they was all in the same place. So my mind was so bad, I didn't even remember I put them in the same place.
Right.
So I had 15. I opened my drawer, and there were 15, like literally 15 John Abraham Bank of America cards, and they all was in the same place. So, but I would call and get another one, and get another one, and get another one. And when I used to go out or hang out somewhere, I used to give people my wallet and my phone. And this was probably in my 11th year, 13th year, 11th to 12th year. I started giving people stuff. Like I'm like, here, take this. Like, wow. Or here, hold my chain while we out. And I probably now you get the chain back. That's the truth. So now in my life now I practice minimalism, and it's helped my mind out a lot. So I don't have a lot of stuff like I did before. Like I don't have a lot of cars. I don't have like the property that I had before. I had to trim down and not feel like I was less of a person. It was just like, this is what I needed to do to make me be a better person. It's ridiculous because I see people with all these houses and cars, and at one point I was mad. I'm like, damn, I can't do that. But then it was like the point, I have a house and I don't even know what's in the house. Or I'll come to the house and I can't remember the code to get in. Or I couldn't remember this. But now since I simplified my stuff, it's like when I said my confidence has, like before I probably couldn't have did this podcast because you would ask me a question and I feel bad that I couldn't remember or I couldn't answer. Now I'm just more vocal on like, some stuff I just don't remember, y'all. Like I have these amazing stories and people will come and tell me because like I literally would not leave my house sometimes because I was embarrassed that I would run into someone that I had a prior experience to, and I would just be like, I can't do it. And I'll just break down and I'll come home and I'll just shelter myself. So, thank y'all for having me on here because you don't understand how much this is helping me also with my transition on trying to become a more vocal, first of all, and a more social person. So this really helped a lot because I'm telling you, like for the last few years, not now, but probably from when I retired to probably 2020, I couldn't do none of this. And if I did, I would probably have to be drunk or I would have to be just very, very mean to some people. I was mean to a lot of people.
a good question here from Matthew. One of our viewers says, any cool charities or programs you are working with right now?
Right now, my biggest charity is me. And it's not trying to be, like I said, I'm not trying to be self-centered or nothing like that, but I got to be around, bro. So I'm doing everything to make sure that I'm okay. But I do work with CDLS now because my youngest daughter, she has CDLS. It's genetic disorder. So I work with that. I've always been with MDA, Muscle Dystrophy Association. And like I said, basically just working on myself more. You know, I do some stuff for the homeless in Atlanta. I just started doing that. I go speak to the guys and I try to talk to them as much as I can. But you know, and for me, like charity for me is really not trying to talk about it like that. And I ain't trying to say I grew up in Tillmansville, South Carolina. So when we did stuff, it wasn't really like John Abraham Foundation. I just never really felt like that because a lot of times people have foundations and they be taking money from it and doing certain things. My charity is generally charity for me. Like if you need something, I got it, I'll give it to you. That's charity for me. Like I grew up in the country. Right. If I got it and you need some place to lay your head, I'll leave it. So, for me, it's a little awkward. I agree with it. Now, I'm not trying to knock anybody who does it. I'm just saying that for me, I grew up differently. Yeah.
I got a good question for you before we get ready to wrap this thing up, John. Once again, we appreciate you coming on the show, man. It means a lot for us to have you here tonight. The Falcons finally have a quarterback after 2 seasons. You went through Mariota, you went through Ritter. You got Kirk Cousins now and a young procedure and Michael Penix Jr., a guy that, could have went even higher if he won that championship game in college. He still went number 8 overall. Can the Falcon fans, me as a Falcon fan, I'm very self-centered, so I'm saying we're going to the playoffs every season. But is this a year that we can really expect this team to get back to the postseason?
Was that championship game close? You said if you would have won it. Like, did you watch another game that I ain't watched?
Yeah.
Where did you see the if? I'm just being real, man. Like you said, if I'm like, bro, I'm thinking it's a different game or something. Oh, but I'm sorry. Okay, let's be realistic. Okay, we have Bijan, we have Pitts, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have London, we have Grady Jarrett coming back. We have probably the greatest safety in the league right now, even though he didn't get Player of the Year. So, is it possible? Yes. We're looking at our quarterback Cousins. He only got 1 playoff win, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing that hurts my feelings. I know he'll put up 4,000 yards. I know he'll complete 69% of the passes. I know he's going to put up great numbers, but as of now, and I'm just going straight off, going back to my industrial class. There's something called validity, and if you look at it. So 13, 14 years, we got 1 playoff win. So everything is here. This is the valid thing. This is what we're used to seeing. So we're seeing this. So if you look at the points, all the points are here. So it's saying that yes, we can make the playoffs, but is we going to win? I don't know. I definitely think they're a playoff team. I think that Baker Mayfield is going to come this year and have a great year. I think Tampa is going to be better than we think. I'm just being real, bro.
Yeah.
When we talk sports, let's talk sports. I think Carolina is going to be Carolina. I think they're going to be better. I think they got my boy from South Carolina. I think they're going to be better.
Yeah.
The Saints.
Clowny.
I can't ever really say the Saints are going to be good. Even if they can have Jesus at quarterback, and we still be like, nah. They might. They might. We don't know, but I think that we definitely. The NFC South should definitely be ours. I think that should be obvious with us. But when it comes to the playoffs, since we lost Matt Ryan, no matter what we thought of him, and I said things about him too at one time because I was always in my feelings and stuff. But I always loved every person I ever played with. I would really never have nothing legitimately bad to say about. But hopefully we. I think the playoffs is definite. I think the playoffs is definite. I don't think that's going to, barring some crazy injury, I think the playoffs is not something that we're going to worry about. But getting past we got, like it's crazy because nobody's talking about Super Bowl here. We're just talking about playoffs. But I'm being real. Like, because I also talk to Jets fans too, and they're like, "Oh, we could have won the Super Bowl last year." Now they talking about just making the playoffs because Aaron came back. Last year they were winning the Super Bowl. This year they're like, "Hey, let's just make the playoffs." So I think it's going to be a tough year for football. Anyway, there's so many new faces coming in. You got the Colts with a new quarterback, Chicago with a new quarterback. It's like Houston's going to be awesome this year. I think it's just like so much football. I think Kansas City is the team to beat until they get dethroned. And I'm saying this as a football player. Even if I played right now, I would say this is the team we got to beat. Like just being real, Philadelphia is good this year. It's no slouch this year, so I can see why people are just talking about playoffs. Yeah, it's going to be some real football this year, and if hopefully we have the fans like you guys that are coming into the Mercedes-Benz and cheer on. Like I went to the Dirty Bird's Nest. First time. Hey man, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad they weren't around when I was, because that little party be live. Hey, look, I'm glad because I would have been the drunkest person in the group. They had Young Jock there. They had Bubba Sparks. I was in there like, man, y'all. This would have been a party. Awesome. I would have bought all of Atlanta with me. Y'all, you telling me I can do stuff for free? I was like, hey. If we had podcasts then, I would have told all y'all, come meet me out here on Friday. Everything's free. We in tonight. Hey, sure. One thing, but I hope they bring that same energy to it, because I don't think people understand how much y'all fans really do mean to us. Right. After 2020, when athletes started really getting on podcasts and people started really being able to communicate and converse with, I guess fans and like really get to know us. I think that's also the reason why that he deserved that money, or he deserved it, because you hear our stories. You hear about like people, that they have stuff that from their past, they have stuff that they're going through now, and they still make it to that game on Sunday. So I think it's like I said, it's a big attribute that y'all are doing this, and no matter like whether you got one follower or a million followers, like that one person sometimes needs to see stuff like this, or to see people, being enjoying the sport outside of the sport.
100%. Philip, Cody, Miss Pam, any more questions for the man before we get him out of here?
I say, John. Go ahead, Miss Pam. I'll let you go first.
I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Well, John, I would say, so you were talking about like the mental, aspect of just life in general, man. What is something that is such a big issue, because it's one of those things. It's finally being talked about, and it hadn't been for so long. Like, what is something that some advice that you might be able to give somebody that's going through that, like that mental aspect of just being down, or just having that rough time, man, that you could be like, look, this is, what worked for me, this is, because we're all different, but what is like that, that's something that, that you would encourage people to, hey, look into this, or.
I would first thing I would say, don't be scared to be vulnerable. I think that's the biggest thing, because being an athlete, and my nickname was Predator for a reason. I ain't wanting to show nobody, like I portrayed myself as being a violent, very disruptive person. So for me to be this person on the field and then coming off the field being like, hey, I'm John, I don't really like this, I don't want to do this. A lot of guys are not saying scared, but that's not what they're portraying. I mean, a lot of sports is acting too. Like if I want to be this evil type guy, I can't be some soft-spoken guy off the field. How many times a coach told me, kill that guy. You got to beat that guy. You got to beat his ass. You want to murder his family. All kind of stuff. And you got to understand, I have a very, very, very virgin mind back then. So a lot of stuff you had to start picking up, and that self-talk is right. man. Like the self-affirmations. Because think about it. Think about how Ray Lewis wanted to become Ray Lewis. He had to sit there and tell himself, I'm fearless, I'm this, I'm that. And we build ourselves up like that. And we think that the same stuff that we do on the field that we have to do in life. I have to be alone out here. I have to manage this myself, because I got 10 other people in here working with me, just like your family. You might have 5 other people in your family that you live with, but you're the player that you think got to make the big play. You got to make the play. You got to do this for yourself, and you got to understand you got to be vulnerable. You got to treat life just like a playbook. everybody got to know what's going on. Like if I'm playing, like right now, if I got us four and I'm sitting here telling you that like I'm not good, I get in the moment and then I freeze. Y'all be like, "What happened, John?" Compared to me saying like, "Look, I don't know if I can do this right now, y'all. I'm gonna go out here and do it. You might be more comfortable doing it, so I'm gonna have to let you do it." Like even with my kids, I had to tell my kids of like what was going on with Dad. I had to say like sometimes like I had to tell my daughter, and this is kind of personal, and I've like never talked about it really. I had to tell my daughter the reason I couldn't come to her graduation because I was nervous. Like I couldn't even. I was scared. I was scared to be there because I didn't feel like I did enough, and I didn't feel like I was a good enough person because she thought I just didn't come. Some stuff came up, but I really had like the biggest probably anxiety attack of my life. This is my first daughter. Like after she graduated college. I went to her college graduation. I did everything else. Like me and her are really cool now, but I had to break down and tell her like, Dad wasn't good. Like I was so afraid to be there that I thought that something was gonna go wrong, and I just didn't even show up. And it started repeating itself. I started just not being there for people, not because I didn't want to be there, because I didn't have enough faith in myself. And I felt like I didn't know what John was going to be there today, and I didn't want to embarrass people. I didn't want this to happen. And so first of all, like I said, being open about it, knowing you're not the only person going through it. The vulnerable part, like I said before, and if somebody doesn't want to hear your problem, they're probably not your friend. Even if you don't have nothing to say, like sometimes I just need an ear. Sometimes you just need an ear, and they have 1-800 numbers you can call. They have definitely writing a diary. And I know it sounds stupid, but writing down your negative emotions, you don't keep them in the library in your head. So you can't re-enter. So writing them down, they helped me out a lot. Like I look at stuff I wrote 2 years ago and I can't believe it. Like I think about how bad I thought of myself, and it's even harder to take a compliment when you're feeling bad about yourself. Like if you're feeling a certain way, I'm feeling like I'm this, and they be like, "Oh, John, you're a great player," and I'm like, "If you." Like, dude, I was just saying you was a good player, but like you can't control it because if you're not feeling the same way people say, you feel like it's disrespectful. Because if I'm telling myself I'm this, and then you're telling me I am, or like, dude, you should be happy with your life. Who are you gonna tell me how to judge my life? You did so much. You don't understand what I was gonna do. You don't know my goals. So it's a lot of stuff. But you also have to give yourself grace and give yourself gratitude. Like I'm so grateful I'm here right now. Like it's compared to 4 years ago. Like 4 years ago, I was suicidal. It was everything, but it was something in me that knew I wanted to fight. Like it was something in me, like fight through this. Like you work so hard to become an NFL athlete, and you start seeing the percentages of how many people did this, and I'm like, dude, you're a great person, regardless of whatever else you do in life. You're a great person. Like try to be a great person. So, and I think if we can stop looking at the outside and start looking inside of us and trying to heal that part. A lot of us have little kids in us that we've never healed. Like we have, like I had to talk to my mom. I had to break down stuff. I had to forgive her for a lot of things I felt that she was wrong at. But also, my mom was a kid growing up trying to raise a kid. Like in your 30s, you're not grown. Like just because you got a house note and all that stuff, you're still a child. It's a lot of stuff, and especially being an adult now. Having kids, and we might not want a kid. Stuff coming up that you don't agree. And think about being a parent that want to give their kid the best life, but you're not like in the right area or in the right place in your life to do it. So there's a lot of stuff I had to forgive, and a lot of stuff I had to put it, like if I was in her shoes, I can see why that. So it's a lot of stuff. Even with my kids, I try to look in their shoes now and not for mine.
Miss Pam, last question for tonight.
Okay. Recently, Terrence Mathis got the head coach job at Morehouse. Any aspiration of entering in the coach arena at any level, whether high school or pro level or whatever?
One thing I've learned about myself, I am not a leader. I'm not a follower either, but I lead my own band. I'm a one-man band. You remember that back in the day you had them do with the drums and the cymbals? I would rather handle my life like that. I don't want to, because how many of us right now have triggers?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
My trigger is when I tell you to do something and you don't do it. It's like I don't have no in betweens. That's one thing I've learned. I've learned that John, you can't really tell somebody what to do. So I give you a little, but I don't want to be in control of what you do, because if I'm in control, like if I tell you to do something and you mess up, it's just like, oh no, you got to be the worst person ever. I hate you. And like I would love to volunteer coach or do certain things like that. I love doing stuff like that. I love just talking to young kids, but I don't want to be anybody's role model. And this is not something from the Charles Barkley type thing. Like, I'm not trying to say I'm gonna go out here and get drunk or shoot somebody or anything like that. I'm just saying I don't want someone to say that, oh, John Abraham. Now my kids, yes, I want them to say that my dad was this. My dad really helped me become this kind of person. But somebody else that's there. Find another person to be your role model. I got other stuff to handle. I got like I said, I'm working on this guy right here. I'm working on this guy so I can be. So my tree, whenever I'm done, the patriarch of the family, whenever I'm done, I can look down and be like, as long as they're okay. Like, some people have a big tree and they got a forest. I got a tree. So that's what it is. I'm good.
Okay.
John, man, I want to say thank you for coming on the show, man. Sorry for blowing your messenger up. Shout out to the career you had in Atlanta, man. Shout out to, pretty much making me a Falcon fan. My guy Cody, he wore the same number as you in high school, and
hopefully
just a big inspiration.
Ring of honor for the Falcons.
Definitely,
yes, sir.
Definitely. Philip, Cody, any shout outs for the man John A before we get him out of here?
Cody, would you like to go?
Yeah, I'll go. I'll say, John, I can't tell you how much this has meant to me. You're not only as a Falcon fan. Now, I'll tell you this. I did look up to you, I would say, but obviously I know, I've had to suppress the fan in me a lot tonight but I just want to thank you for everything that you did for, the Falcons and, and obviously, just the way I watched you play and how hard you played. It would just, it was something that I looked up to, I would say, is in the football aspect, So, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on here. Obviously, I wore your number for 10 years. So, I can't thank you enough.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you coming on. This has been awesome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Like, I don't think y'all understand. It means a lot to me also. Like, I don't ask for money. I don't ask for anything like that. We all us just respect each other, and we just have a good time in life. And we know that, you never know when the opportunity will come up just to do things like this. So why even try to pass on it? Because I was like, oh man, I looked now. Oh, we've been talking for a while. Let me say yes. I just told him. I told him, I was like, look, my schedule is going like this. He's like, look, we can do it this day. He wasn't to ask. He wasn't like, well. He's like, okay, well, we can do it this day if you want to. I'm like, cool. I appreciate it. And I said, I got it. But that's the kind of stuff that I want to leave my legacy for my kids. Knowing that you don't have to be nice, but you can be a good person. Like, I don't got to be nice, but I can be a good person. And like I said, this ain't hurting nobody on this podcast for me to be here.
Facts. Philip, last words, brother.
Cody pretty much summed it up, man. Appreciate you coming here, man. It's been great, man. It's just like a blessing. Honestly, it's pretty cool. Fun experience as well. Like, especially from someone watching as a child. Like, it's just amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Once again, John.
Calling me old.
Once again, man, shout out to you, John Abraham, man. Hope to run into you this season at the Benz, wherever it may be at, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
No question. Appreciate it, fellas.
Yes, sir. Catch you later, John.
Fight for life.
Falcon fans, man. We finally did it. We got John Abe in the house, man.
Crazy, man.
Shout out to Miss Pam, her first appearance on the show. Glad we could have her on tonight to get the experience that we just got from a legend, man. I'm pretty sure everybody on this panel has all, know who John Abraham is. When I got the text message from him and he said he was a good to go, I was like, man, this is it. This is what we've been working towards. Like, this is what the goal of the podcast was. Get Falcon players on the podcast, and we made it happen. Philip, Cody, Miss Pam, it has been a great show. Shout outs for tonight from all three of y'all, and we'll close this thing out.
You want me to go first? Or?
Yeah, start it out.
I'll go ahead. Y'all already know my number one. It's always my Lord and Savior, man. It's just a blessing, this wonderful life that we live. It's just been a movie here lately. Oh, man, it's just, I could go on. But shout out to everyone here. Shout out, John, for coming, man. That was big. That was big. Great experience. Thank everybody else. It's in the comments. It's always fun. Shout out to a couple others with the questions as well. It's always a blessing. Shout out to the team that they've been doing some big things this past week in training camp. I'm gonna keep everybody, especially us,
keep
updated.
It coming,
I'm gonna keep everybody updated. So as always, man, rise up.
Cody, my man, Cody Keeley, we got him on the podcast, baby.
Man.
Shout out to
Dude.
John Abe. Cody, shout outs for the night, brother.
Dude, I tell you what, I would say you want to talk about, like Philip said, living the dream, man. That was so cool. He's so real, man. I would say that, they always say don't meet your heroes, but I can't even tell you how much of a pleasure it was to sit down and talk to that man. But shout out to everybody being here tonight. Chase, Philip, Miss Pam. It's nice to finally meet you in person.
Yes.
It says see you in the comments section.
Yes.
I would say it's been great, man. I would say life is good right now, man. I would say, like I told John, man, I had to suppress the fan in me big time because I wanted to geek out, but but shout out to everybody that watched tonight. Shout out to everybody that likes, subscribes, keeps watching, interacts with us, does that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, big shout out to John Abraham. I hope he keeps coming back, man. But also shout out to the family in the other room watching. I can hear them in there being all happy about it for me too. So shout out to them. Shout out to you guys always, coming on a Friday, doing this thing, getting, escaping from life a little bit and just talking Dirty Bird football and about, arguably probably the greatest defensive player that the Falcons have ever had, in my opinion. Guys, this was a blast. Always rise up.
Miss Pam, as I said, it was a pleasure to have you on, and I hope to have you on for further shows. Miss Pam, shout outs for tonight.
Thank y'all for having me. Hope to see everybody at the open practice tomorrow. Definitely.
DFU won't be in the building, but we're there at the bins. We'll be at the bins.
Yeah, we'll be at the bins, and also I'm gonna be in Miami as well.
Nice. Miss Pam does it big when it comes to these Atlanta Falcons, man. I'm telling you, always on the road. Part of the Rise Up tour. Tell them about the Rise Up tour, Miss Pam, before we get out of here.
Oh, it's
Did you make the cruise?
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That cruise was
On the
wonderful.
cruise.
Yeah, Freddie the Falcons. We had a great time.
Yeah,
They got another one coming up next year. So it's not too late to sign up if y'all want to sign up. Non-Falcons fans could also sign up for the cruise ship.
Yes, sir. Check out the Rise Up Tour on Facebook, man. I want to give my shout outs to all my friendly friends here on the podcast in the comment section. Shout out to each and everybody that hit that like button, left a comment for John A. If we didn't get to all your comments, I apologize. Hit that comment section, man. Let's talk after the show if you're catching us after the live. It's your boy Chase, Cody, and Miss Pam. We are live next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Dirty Fanatics United bringing you some training camp coverage and updates and all the rumors that you see on Twitter. We'll talk about it here on the podcast. Shout out to everybody here. Shout out to Philip, Cody, Miss Pam. Shout out to that man, John Abe. It's your boys from DFU. Peace out. A-Town down, baby. Rise up.
Hi.